kind of find a seat. We're going to open up this evening with a public hearing for the ordinance amending Exhibit B of the local hospitality tax ordinance. Let me find this little thing. Opening up the public hearing now. Does anyone like to speak on the ordinance amending Exhibit B of the local hospitality tax ordinance? No one chooses to speak, then I will end the public hearing. This closes it out. Our next item is a second public hearing, and this would be on the ordinance amending the budget for the local hospitality tax. At this time, I would like to open up the public hearing for the public. Any speakers? With no speakers, I will close the public hearing for the ordinance amending the budget for local hospitality tax. Thank you. And now I'd like to call to order the meeting of the town of Batesburg-Leesville. It's a regular council meeting tonight, October the 14th, 7 o'clock at our beautiful town hall complex. Thank everyone for coming. Appreciate it. Beautiful weather and a little rain on the way, so definitely grateful. Moving on to the invocation. If Pastor Kent Suits, if you would come and lead us in our invocation, please.
Let's pray. Father God, thank you. You are Father, you are Son, you are Holy Spirit. You are great and mighty, greatly to be praised. We thank you that you sit in your throne in heaven and that the earth is your footstool, that we are but your creatures, made to glorify you, to give you glory, to give you praise. And so we pray that that would happen in this meeting tonight, that you would be glorified, that your name would be great in this town, and that as you lead these men and women to make decisions concerning this town, that you would give them love for the people, wisdom as they seek to do what is best for this town, and that this town would prosper for the good of the people and for your glory. We ask all these things in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Pastor. At this time, if you would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Gambrell, if you would lead us, sir.
Let's pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve? So moved. Motion by Mr. Prowse. Do I have a second?
Forgot my little table.
Second by Ms. Etheridge. Any discussion? District 1?
District 1 votes
2?
2 yes.
4? 6?
yes.
7?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The agenda has been approved. Thank you. Moving on to the adoption of the minutes. We have a few things to go through here. This will be the adoption. Do I have a motion to adopt the regular council meeting for September the 9th, 2019?
So moved.
Mr. Gambrell, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Etheridge. Any discussion? District 1?
District 1 vote yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4? District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The minutes have been approved for the September 9th meeting. Moving on to council work session, September 23rd, 2019 minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Gambrell, do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Etheridge, any discussion? District 1?
District 1 votes yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
We're voting on the work session minutes from September 23rd that were in your packet. This District 5?
Yeah.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The work session minutes from September 23rd have been adopted, accepted. Moving on to special council meeting, September 26th, 2019. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Gambrell, do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Etheridge, any discussion? District 1?
District 1 yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 4.
District 4 votes no.
This would be on the special council meeting September 26th. District 5. We're voting on the minutes, Ms. Etheridge,
Oh,
or
okay.
Ms. Mitchell. Is that a yes or no, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay, District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
and I vote yes. The special council meeting September 26th minutes have been adopted. Moving on to the mayor's report, our next regular council meeting will be November the 11th, heading into the holidays. Council committee reports, Central Midlands COG, Councilmember Gambrell.
Okay, we had a very interesting meeting last time. COG to participate. They had a letter from the Riverbanks Gateway Project at the Columbia, and they're asking to become a member of the Central Midlands Government Planning Organization for 2040, and voted to include them in our planning organization. And I forgot the amount of money they were going after, but it was quite a considerable amount of money. But anyway, they're going after that. Next thing was that South Carolina Medicare program is open. COG is heavily involved in it, and they are wanting to help anybody that needs to have something answered or requested or some information that they need. South Carolina Works is an organization that is asking a range of employment training and related services in one location for our customers. Our partnership allows us to provide seamless service integration and ensure convenience for our customers. And these organizations are South Carolina Department of Social Science, Social Services, Midlands Tech, Adult Education, Job Corps, South Carolina Commission for the Blind, Midlands Tech, and a few other worthwhile organizations. In South Carolina Vocational Rehab System, which are my companion over here is very involved in. Now, the one that brought music to my ear, and Councilman Simpkins over here, was that they advised us on the Zone Hill Fortin Springs Park. It's a neighborhood revitalization plan up in I forgot where it was, Winsboro, Fairfield County, and they're doing pretty good on it. They're gonna get a lot of money, spend a lot of money, rehab a lot of property, and they were wondering if anybody would be interested in it. Well, two hands immediately went up. We got several neighborhoods in this town which could use some of this work, and we talked to some people after. We're gonna get that money. Last thing was on aging. These people is the budget and work program. I have an application if you would like to file for help on your bills and so forth. The team provides in-home assistance annually to clients who are either receiving or applying to receive special services provided through the Older Americans Act. They have 1,940 customers, and they're looking for some more. And that's all that I have to bring, sir.
Thank you for the report. Moving on to next item, which is Environmental Planning Advisory Committee, Councilman Member Prowse.
EPAC did not meet in the month of September, so I have nothing to report.
Thank you, sir. Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission, there have been two meetings actually since our last meeting because of the way the meetings fall in October. So there was a meeting on September 11th and there was a meeting on October the 9th. A couple of the highlights from the meeting. Certainly there's been just some water quality issues coming out of Lake Murray with the heat and the algae blooms and the no rain and the et cetera, et cetera. So if you've had dinner out at any of the restaurants kind of over that way, you've noticed it, at least in the water. And they've been working around the clock to get it fixed, to figure out some different ways to manage it. And they're talking to a lot of different water plants outside the state. Looks like this type of algae used to be more in the upper part of the United States, actually, which is kind of odd, but it's moving this direction, and that's what they've been dealing with the last year and this year. So they are working on some other things to put in there, some charcoal type filters and some carbon type stuff that would, try to help get that algae. The problem is the algae's dying, then the algae, once it's dead, then it's leaving a real smell and everything associated with it. Other thing, the construction of the main office for Joint Municipal is done, and they're actually moved in, should be moving in today, actually. That was what was on the schedule. They do have a couple of openings over there for utility technician position. Two positions open for utility tech. If anyone's interested, or you know someone interested. And the other thing that they worked on was a financial plan for new debt. Going after their bond rating is excellent at Joint Municipal, and so they're looking at restructuring some debt, and it would save approximately $2.5 million off of the current debt that they have by changing up that debt service. And that's what I have for Joint Municipal. Moving on to item C, Batesburg-Leesville Chamber of Commerce, President Mike Taylor, if you would take the floor, please.
Thank you, Mayor and members of Town Council. Fall Fashion Shows this last Thursday, October 10th. Batesburg-Leesville Chamber and the Bel Air Study Club work together on this event. The fashions are presented by Maze of Batesburg. It was held in the Batesburg Business District at several occasions. And we had approximately 110 people attend this. It's a great occasion for a $10 ticket. Come in to have heavy hors d'oeuvres, to have a fashion show. It was a good assortment of people, young and old, and men and women. We had people from Lexington, Columbia, Batesburg-Leesville, Gilbert, Saluda, Pillion, Aiken. So we brought people from around in the area to the event. I don't normally bring up the general membership meeting that the chamber has, but this month, Mid-Carolina Electric Co-op is sponsoring and presenting the program. And traveling around to several meetings within the community, I know broadband internet is extremely important to businesses in the community and individuals. And many of us outside the city limits and so forth can't get Spectrum or Mid-Carolina. So I don't know whether any of the membership I asked, but I'm certainly going to ask, is there a possibility in the future, after they've taken care of their customers, that it might be offered to other people where they get the power source? Our annual banquet is going to be Thursday, November the 21st at TNS Farm. Our speaker for the event will be County Administrator Joe Murgo. Arts on the Ridge Performing Arts Camp will be June 22nd through June 26th. We'll end with a performance of Cinderella. The committee is also looking at a possible event this coming December. The Dreamcatchers have always been extremely active. They attended the service at Faith Lutheran Church and enjoyed lunch at the congregation with the congregation afterwards. They thanked Faith Lutheran Church for their overwhelming support to provide funds for the drone camp this past summer. They also had a very busy day on October the 5th as they unloaded pumpkins for St. John's United Methodist Church, and then offered concessions at the first professional wrestling match at Batesburg-Leesville Leisure Center. They offered hot dogs, chili, nachos, and so forth. And for your information, Boss Man Lemonade provided the slushes, and I did not realize this, but the owner of Boss Man Lemonade is a member of the Dreamcast. He's a 13-year-old. Of course, he has a little help from his mom and so forth. So finally, they would like to thank Wiz Zedry for his continued support in their endeavors. And I ask I apologize, but today is my son's and his son's birthday. And I don't normally leave, but I'm leaving, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mike.
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday to your son and your grandson. Moving on to item 7, public comment regarding items on the agenda. Do we have anything, Ms. Judy? There's nothing on there, so we're moving on to unfinished business. Item 8. A, second reading of ordinance amending Exhibit B of the local hospitality tax ordinance. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Prowse, do I have a second? Mr. Gambrell, any discussion? District 1,
District 1 votes yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
District 3 votes yes.
District 4,
District 4 votes yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Second reading ordinance amending Exhibit B of the local hospitality tax ordinance has been approved. Moving on to item B of unfinished business. This is the second reading of the ordinance amending the budget for local hospitality tax. Do I have a motion to approve to our second reading?
So moved.
Mr. Gambrell, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Etheridge. Any discussion?
I do have a question for the for council.
Mr. Simpkins has the floor.
We are allocating funds for a budgetary expense. What with the projects that we are anticipating funding, do we have any costs for those projects?
Would you like to direct the question to anyone in particular, Mr. Simpkins, manager?
Anyone who can answer it.
In the packet that we received on Thursday at 5 o'clock, there are 4 items in the 4 line items in the budget. One is which is just the reserve. The other is Christmas lights. One is town signage, and the final is town events.
It's what?
Town events. It was in the packet sent out at Thursday at 5 o'clock last week.
I apologize, Mayor. I did not receive the correspondence from administration.
Any other discussion?
I don't believe my question has been answered. Did you answer the question?
These are the items you're wanting to know. Could you repeat the question,
The
please?
question was, do we have proposed budgets, expenses for the cost of these items?
There were extensive notes on the Christmas lights inside of the packet. The town signage, anything for the town's signs would be contracts, with contractors that would be brought to council for approval. So that
Do we have bids on these items?
we do not yet. This is an estimated number. Is that right, Mr. Lefferty? And we have no necessary costs on town events, but is this also an estimated number based off of past events?
It is, just a little extra allocated towards town events as they continue to grow.
Okay.
He's just guessing on you. You don't have exact amounts. You don't have anybody to really do this.
No, as far as the Christmas lights are an exact cost. The town signage is an estimated cost at this time, a budgetary cost for the remaining part of this year. And the town events is just allowing us a little additional funds from the H-Tax to put towards our town events that we have this year.
From the H-Tax.
From the H-Tax, correct.
Yeah, in that event, we had talked about the nets.
field goal numbers. I'm trying to figure, I mean, that's what I, all right,
Mr. Mayor,
that was one thing that I was.
Mr.
it's
Yambro?
my understanding that the high school is gonna take care of that.
Take care of what?
The high school is gonna take care of the nets.
Okay,
That's my understanding, I might be wrong.
okay.
Town manager, Ted, we
One
don't
one at a time, I would ask if we do one speak at a time, please. Who would like the floor to speak?
I have another question.
Okay, Ms. Johnson.
So we don't have, any, estimated cost of the town signage at this point?
No, sir. We are,
So these are projected costs?
correct.
Projected
It's
costs.
a budgetary amount.
Now, isn't that putting the cart before the horse?
No, we just giving Ted some parameters. Don't go over what we budget for you to go over. If you can save us money, please, but don't go over what we about to approve, okay?
Well, I would still have to come back to you guys after an RFP for contract selection and approval of to expend the funds, so.
So these amounts may not be correct.
Well, the Christmas lights is correct,
We have that in our packet, yes, thank you.
right, but
Yep.
the signage is just a guideline for Ted not to go over. That's all. You can go up to, but don't go over, he still gotta come.
He's still gotta come back to us, right, that's exactly, with contractor approval, with contract approval.
It's just difficult to bid a job if there's not funding in place. It deters contractors from putting in and bidding jobs when there's not money allocated for those jobs. And then once we come back with an RFP down the road, most contractors will not honor their price for more than 30 days after they submit that bid. Whereas if we didn't allocate funding now and we waited, once we RFP'd and the bids were received, we would then have to wait 60 days to amend the budget, and it'll be whether or not the contractor will honor that price for that long.
Mr. Mayor?
Ms. Whittle, to the floor?
Ted, can you give us an idea of, and I know this would totally be an estimate, but if we do an RFP for the town signage, what would you, how many responses do you think we would get in order to judge? I mean,
Most things, and really what I have to go off of at this point are utility line work and things like that we do. We typically, for most things we RFP for the town, we see 5 to 9 responses. That would be the range.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Ted, for the Christmas lights, I wasn't able to make that special meeting, but we had already met twice last month, this month rather, and I wasn't able to make that. Would you briefly go over the RFP that was chosen for the Christmas light?
So the lights that are in the quote, is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay. For the $48,500 budget that we have, that is for 2-panel Christmas trees, 26 feet in height, LED. That is for 48 6-foot pole lights, with 16 being premier snowflakes, 16 being poinsettias, 16 being holly leaves. 2 season greeting banners that are double-sided, 7 happy holiday banners, 7 snowy ornament banners, 14 banner brackets for the new light, for the banners, 2 double banner sets for the 2 season greeting banners, 2 3-foot LED presents, 2 4-foot LED presents, and 2 5-foot LED presents. And with tax and shipping, that works to the budgeted amount.
And am I correct when I say that these will be placed in the 2 business districts?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
And when will they be installed, anticipated?
We would hopefully take delivery and trying to communicate with the gentleman, and he doesn't want to start an order too early, but he certainly wants, I'm gonna notify him if passed tonight, because he wants to get underway. He said we should be able to have these lights by Thanksgiving, if final word's given. So at that point, once we get them, it'll be the process of starting installation on those, and hopefully have them lit by the Christmas parade on December 8th.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion?
Don't go down through basement, right, this year?
Mr. Mayor,
Hold on one second.
Defer to Mr. Taylor, Mike Taylor on that.
Okay, okay. On this side.
Mr. Gaines, any more? Anything else?
I just want to thank Ted for working hard and fast on that Christmas lights. I don't think I've ever seen Ted move.
He loves Christmas lights, yeah. Ms. Whittle?
Except for on the golf course, maybe. Thank you, Ted.
I
Ms.
have,
Whittle has a question?
yeah, thank you.
Ms. Whittle has the floor.
At the Christmas lighting that we have in Leesville Park, and also with the evergreens along Railroad Avenue in Batesburg, which we had talked, I personally had just generally talked with BBA about at some point making a tree lighting with that evergreen tree. And the Dream Catchers had cleaned out some of that area. I'm wondering if we really need these trees, or shouldn't we just decorate the live trees? And that's just a question.
My opinion is these trees will set a very, very good tone. They are very well lit. I think they're going to be a great presence right there on both of those main streets of both downtown districts. I think it will add good pop, for lack of a better word, and be very aesthetically pleasing to people to see that at Christmas time. Again, that is my opinion. These panel lights are very popular. They're selling a lot of them because people do appreciate those panel trees. And I will tell you that putting the metal frame down and applying the panels that are pre-lit and plugging them in is going to be a lot easier than finding 24 to 26 foot live trees, moving them in, and having to swirl lights around them with our bucket truck. It gets very difficult.
I think Jim Mitchell was going to do that for us. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Again, this is second reading ordinance amending the budget for local hospitality tax. District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
District 4 votes yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Second reading of the ordinance amending the budget for the local hospitality tax has passed. Moving on to item 9, new business. This is proclamation 2020 of the Census Partnership. This was in everyone's packet. I will, do you want me to read this one? Anyone want me to read through this? Or did everyone get a chance to read this? Does anyone want me to read it? You do want me to read it? I will be happy to read it. I read things all day long. Whereas the U.S. Census Bureau is required by the U.S. Constitution to conduct a count of the population and provides a historic opportunity to help shape the foundation of our society and play an active role in American democracy. And whereas the town of Batesburg-Leesville is committed to ensuring every resident is counted, and whereas federal and state funding is allocated to communities and decisions are made on matters of national and local importance based in part on census data and housing. And whereas census data helps determine how many seats each state will have in the U.S. House of Representatives and is necessary for an accurate and fair redistricting of state legislative seats, county and city councils, and voting districts. Whereas information from the 2020 Census and American Community Survey are vital tools for economic development and increased employment. Whereas the information collected by the census is confidential and protected by law. And whereas a united voice from business, government, community-based, and faith-based organizations, educators, media, and others will enable the 2020 census message to reach more of our citizens. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Batesburg-Leesville is committed to partnering with the U.S. Census Bureau and the state of South Carolina and will, 1, support the goals and ideals for the 2020 census and will disseminate 2020 census information. 2, encourage all county residents to participate in events and initiatives that will raise the overall awareness of the 2020 census and increase participation. 3, provide census advocates to speak to county and community organizations. 4, support census takers as they help our county complete an accurate count. And 5, strive to achieve a complete and accurate count of all persons within our borders. Do I have a motion to adopt the proclamation for the 2020 Census Partnership?
Second.
Mr. Simpkins, and the second by Mr. Gambrell. Any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor,
Yep, yeah, the
I
floor,
would
sir.
like to state the importance of the census. The numbers mean a lot, but when you start converting numbers over to dollars and rankings and that kind of stuff, it means money for the town, for every citizen. And I sure hope we do our best with it.
I also would like to say that as a board member of the Central Midlands Council of Government representing Lexington, Richland, Fairfield, and Newberry counties, we are totally committed to a complete and accurate count in 2020 of the census.
Any other discussion? District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
3,
District 3 votes yes.
4,
District 4 votes yes.
District 5,
Yes.
6,
Yes.
7,
Yes.
and I vote yes. The proclamation for the 2020 Census Partnership has been adopted. Moving on to item B of new business, which is a proclamation on creation of 2020 Census Complete County Committee. Do I, let me read the proclamation here. Whereas the U.S. Census Bureau is required by the United States Constitution to conduct a count of all persons, and whereas the census count requires extensive work and the Census Bureau requires partners at the state and local level to ensure a complete and accurate count, and whereas the town of Batesburg-Leesville Complete Count Committee will bring together a cross-section of community members who will utilize their local knowledge and expertise to reach out to all persons of our community. And whereas the town of Batesburg-Leesville Complete Count Committee will work with the Census Bureau and the state of South Carolina to strive for an accurate count. Now therefore be it resolved, the town of Batesburg-Leesville establishes a 2020 Census Complete Count Committee. Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gambrell and Mr. Simpkins, any discussion? District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
District 3 votes yes.
District 4,
District 4 votes yes.
District 5,
Yes.
6,
Yes.
7,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Proclamation creation of 2020 Census Complete County Committee has been adopted. Thank you. Moving on to item C under new business, which is the approval of a memorandum agreement between the Midlands Technical College and the town of Batesburg-Leesville for Police Department Substation Office at the BL campus. Do I have a motion to approve the memorandum?
I move that we table.
Motion to adopt.
I've got a motion to table. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion by Mr. Kane to table. Do I have a second by Ms. Mitchell? Any discussion?
The motion.
Mr. Kane?
Yeah, the motion to table is based on the fact that, you know, these things we've asked before, that these things that council was asked to vote on, that we have an opportunity to discuss during a work session, so that we know exactly what, I mean, I know we got the white paper, but turning academic space into law enforcement space at the college
And we're,
is something that I'm not comfortable with, because I think that we should be trying to fill that school, that college with students, not police officers. We have a fire department that is 1 block away. This facility here is available to the police department if they need a substation, but we should not be taking academic space away from students or potential students.
Okay, so right now we have a motion to table, which would end the discussion of the matter.
It was just a discussion now, but
Sir,
I think we can
but-
talk about it at an executive session.
Right, and I'm just clarifying what I need to do here. Thank you. Is there any other discussion on the motion to table?
Call for the vote.
So this would be a vote to table the memorandum agreement between Midlands Tech College and the town of Batesburg-Leesville. District 1,
District 1 votes yes.
District 2,
No.
District 3,
District 3 votes yes.
District 4,
District 4 votes no.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
No.
and Mayor votes no. So the,
Motion to adopt.
we have a no, we have 5 noes, 4,
Is it 4-4?
4-4, sorry. I can't, sorry, 4-4. So it fails. It's 4-4. We have yes, no, yes, no, yes, yes, no. We have 4-4, so that it fails. Mr. Simpkins has made a motion to adopt.
Pardon? I'm sorry.
Okay, the table failed, and now I have a motion by Mr. Simpkins for the approval of the memorandum of agreement between Midlands Technical College. So I have a motion to approve it, and do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Mr. Gambrell. Now, any discussion on the memorandum of agreement that was in your packet sent out Thursday on 5 o'clock?
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Whittle has the floor.
I honestly believe that this is a poor use of Midlands Tech location. If we put a substation where at Midlands Tech, it's so far, well, it is not close to the middle of Batesburg-Leesville. It's, I should know all the properties that this town owns since I'm on council, but I do not know each property. But I believe after some discussion, we might find a better place. And if we don't, this might work, but I don't think we have enough information to vote on this at this time. I think Midlands Tech is a wonderful, wonderful partner in our community. But I think this offers them security and policing where I think we could better be another place.
Thank you, Ms. Whittle. Any other discussion?
I would like to ask Chief Oswald if he would come and just share with us why he feels this would be good for our community.
Thank you, Mr. Simpkins. Chief, you have the floor.
First of all,
That's
to
what I
council,
really wanted to know.
first of all, to Councilman, this is not on. Anyway, to Councilman Whittle's question, we had been trying for a couple of years to find locations, and we found a location we thought about a year ago, but it was because they were going to charge rent. It was decided not to use that. And so that's what we've been looking for, was something free. And so that's why we have been looking for a couple of years to try to find a place, as the white paper said. Also, as far as the academic part, this is not an academic room. What it is, Dr. Raines mentioned to me, well, actually when I went there last year, that it was a finance office. It's a very small office, not much bigger than this area right here where they're sitting. That was the finance office in there, but they no longer conduct finance office there. They use that either online or at the main campus. So that office has been sitting empty for quite a while because they no longer use it. It's not a classroom, it's a small finance office.
Chief, the reason, and I was a part of that discussion, that we didn't approve, renting space from Brent Shealy in Leesville was not only because it was rent, it was because that we have this facility that's here, and we also have the fire department, which is 1 block away from, Midlands Tech. And I don't think that we need to be, I mean, you talk about, you talk about, late in the afternoon, in the evening hours, right?
Anytime there's an officer.
Okay, but.
That officer, anytime an officer in the Leesville area, the problem has been, like you said in the paper where I wrote the explanation, the problem has been that, of course, the police department's on the far western side of town.
1.2 miles.
And so there is an officer assigned to the Leesville district to patrol that district. However, if he or she needed to speak to someone in private, not just on the street, or needed to take a report, or sit down and use the telephone, or use the computer to go online to find out information, had to drive all the way up here to this office to do that. Whereas with this situation, the officer stays in Leesville.
But what happened to them using this place? What happened to that?
Because it's still not on that side of town.
But it's in the middle. It's in the middle of both.
We're trying to keep the Leesville officer in Leesville.
It is in the middle of both.
We've asked,
What about
we've asked the chief here, ladies and gentlemen, we've asked the chief here to explain, hold on 1 second, we've asked the chief here
I said, what about the fire department?
The fire department space is utilized down there. They utilize every bit of space they have. Matter of fact, they need more space.
They can't squeeze, you telling me that the Midlands Tech space is so small that it's not gonna impact the college, right? But you're telling me that the space is so big that it will impact volunteer firefighters. Is that what you're saying?
The office space they have down there is utilized. They're using what they have.
You mean tell me that you can't fit one desk with one computer for one officer, and that fire department is that packed that you can't put one officer, you can't put one desk in there, not one desk. We got two fire departments, and you can't put one desk in one fire department? Come on, man.
I do have some questions.
Come on, man.
It's my understanding that, there's no cost involved.
No, there's no cost involved.
And even if we place an office in the fire department in the Leesville district, there would be additional cost to the town to do that. Desks and telephone equipment and those type of things.
Correct.
So if we can place police protection within the Leesville district without cost to the town, why wouldn't we do that?
You already have police protection. You already have police protection.
Let Mr. Simpkins finish his statement. Everyone gets to speak. Everyone gets to speak. Thank you.
Without interference, please.
Yes.
Right. So if there's an emergency, instead of having to come all the way from the current office in the western end of the Batesburg district, that officer now is in the community already, and that would reduce the time he would need to get to that situation. I think it would be well worth it to have protection as close as possible in all areas of the town.
I agree.
Thank you.
Hold on, man. Let me ask you a question. So you telling me that he's gonna come from way over in Leesville at the college and come way down that road out here and over to here, and that's closer?
Down what road?
I mean, it just makes. First of all, we can.
Let's direct our questions and stuff to the chief.
Okay.
Be respectful of his time.
We should not be taking academic place space and putting a police department in when we have ample town space to do that. You know that I don't know. I would imagine that at some point. Midlands Tech is going to grow to a point where they have more students in there and they need their finance office. Okay. I would hope that would be our goal, would be not to be taking space away from Midlands Tech College and when we have space.
Mr. Kane, we understand your position and you've spoken thoroughly 2 times on the subject.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fantastic. And I'm going to let other council members who may have not spoken or have spoken once to have their say.
Go ahead.
So please direct the conversation to the chief and to the public. That's why the microphones are here in front of us.
I would just like to also say that I live in the Leesville district.
Do you?
My parents live in the Leesville
Mr.
district.
King,
And if there is an emergency, I would want, the police department to be on the scene as soon as possible.
any other council members have comment?
So that could stop some of the
Ms.
traffic.
Ms. Etheridge, you like to direct
That could
what?
stop some of the
We
traffic.
might not be able to prove it, but we know.
Hold on, Mr. King. We're not gonna have side guys. Let's have order. Let's have some little order here. Ms. Etheridge has the floor
So,
to
Chief,
speak to the chief.
That could stop some of the late night traffic in that Leesville Park.
That's correct.
Okay.
But you're saying that he's already patrolling this area,
That's
right?
correct.
Okay, so if he's already patrolling this area, it should have stopped anyway.
You was talking for a place where somebody
Ms.
did some
King,
paperwork,
you've
right?
spoken twice on the subject.
Okay, I'm not done. I'm not done.
Well, I believe that's what in our
That's not,
in our
that's not,
ordinance.
it's not, you need to read it.
Someone else
You need to read it. Read it and then you can get it. But Chief, you're just looking for somebody, someplace for somebody to do some paperwork, right?
Do paperwork, speak to people.
Okay,
When they need to sit down and
But
speak.
that ain't got nothing to do with increasing law enforcement.
Chief, is this gonna cost anything to the town?
It don't matter.
Okay, how does Dr. Rames and Midlands Tech feel about this?
They were fully for it. I've spoken to Dr. Raines and his staff. We have been in many contact. Like I said, I first contacted him the night he was here speaking, and he was very excited about the opportunity.
Why?
Because he wanted the police officer. He just thinks it's a good environment to have, even when especially when the students are there, just like we have.
How many
resource
students are there?
officers When the students are there. I
How
don't
many-
know.
how many students
But
are
when
there?
students are there, to have police officers there.
Well, how many
Thank you, Chief.
students
Thank
are
you.
there? Not many.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I have a call for the question. Again, this is approval of a memorandum of agreement between Midlands Technical College and the town of Batesburg-Leesville for the police department substation office at the BL campus. District 1. District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
No.
District 4?
District 4 votes yes.
District 5?
Yeah.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Big enough for your ass.
And I vote yes, the memorandum of agreement between Midlands Tech and the town of Batesburg-Leesville has been adopted, accepted. Guys, all right, settle down. The vote has passed. Manager's report, item 10. Mr. Luckadoo.
I don't know, man.
Mr. Luckadoo, you have the floor. It's not if you listen. Mr. Luckadoo has the floor.
All right.
Mr. Luckadoo.
Good evening.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Gambrell. Mr. Gambrell has the floor.
at Texas Times office, can I have peace and quiet up here so I can hear people talking?
Yes, sir.
Got two conversations going on at one time and I can't hear it.
Whoever has the floor, let's allow them to speak, ladies and gentlemen. One at a time, thank you. Mr. Luckadoo, item A, Lexington School District 3 SRO funding received.
All right, I don't believe this microphone is working too well, so I'll just speak louder. First item is Lexington School District 3 SRO funding. They've received, Lexington School District 3 has received $101,200 from the state of South Carolina, which was allocated through a proviso passed at the State House. That will provide reoccurring funding on an annual basis for new SROs in schools that previously did not have SROs. This is part of the governor's initiative to have an SRO in every school in South Carolina. The funding from this can be used towards salary benefits for officers, but does not cover the cost for capital or equipment needed for the officers. The funding from this would come straight to the town, even though this was something that Lexington School District 3 had put their name on the application. The funding would actually come straight to us. We are still working with the school district to finalize costs and to ensure that we know all the ifs, ands, or buts related to this 100%. Just wanted to let council know tonight that this has occurred. Just as many other school districts around the state have received funding for this, our school had applied for 2 SROs and was awarded for the elementary school and the primary school. Yes, sir.
So the school district had made the agreement with the town based upon this funding solely?
So at this point, there's been no agreement. They had contacted us when this came out as a possibility.
Do we not have an agreement in place?
We do have an agreement, current agreement in place for the middle school SRO and the primary school SRO.
So we do have an agreement.
So this is talking about putting a new officer in the elementary school and a new officer in the primary school. All 4 schools would have an SRO.
It's just expanding.
It would be expanding
The
the
scope of the
SRO.
agreement.
The high school currently has one and the middle school currently has one. So, as I stated, we are still working with the school district right now to understand everything regarding this. We do hope next month to come back and have a agreement in place for expanding the SROs into the other schools with 100% of the salaries being funded. That would, of course, be an executive session item on next month's agenda for our discussion with more details related to it. Just wanted to let you know tonight this was kind of on the next thing we've got is, some of y'all may have heard about a month or 2 ago, the City of Columbia Public Safety Department switched to their cellular coverage to something called FirstNet, which is a nationwide public safety broadband platform. FirstNet is powered by AT&T. We heard about this, and I'll tell you more about it in just a second. We heard about this, and we began looking into this ourselves. Essentially what it is after September 11, 2001 occurred, public safety officials got together and began discussing the need for public safety personnel to be able to communicate after a mass incident. I can speak not to mass incidents, but if you go to a South Carolina football game, you cannot use your cell phone because you have so many people congregated in one area, all trying to utilize their cell phone, and you can't get out. Well, anytime after mass incidents occur, a lot of the cellular towers will bog down and you can't get out. Well, this is a problem when it comes to public safety and for key government officials to be able to communicate during a time of crisis. So after 9/11, first responder officials got together to try and find a solution to this problem. And Verizon and AT&T have both come out with platforms at this point, which is to allow first responders priority on cellular towers during these times. We did meet with AT&T, which currently the town is with Verizon Wireless for all of our cellular devices. But we did meet with AT&T and discuss the FirstNet program with them, and we followed that up with a meeting with Verizon Wireless about their platform. While they take a couple different approaches in the way that they do this, the platforms are very similar in that all the devices of the town, if we move to this, would be entered into a system on their side that would, if our cell phone goes out, it is automatically given priority on the cellular tower. One deals more with the priority, one deals more with, Verizon deals more with, they leave a certain amount of space available on their tower unused, where FirstNet provides priority based on the code of the cellular devices coming in.
So how many people would it take to crash a system like that? You said Williams-Brice, but practically, how many? Something happened in Batesburg. How many people would it take to be on their phone?
I don't know the
crash?
answer to that. I don't know how many people it would take. And every tower, depending on region, is going to have a different amount of spaces. Obviously, a tower in downtown Columbia is going to allocate for more space on their tower than a tower that we have around here. So it's kind of hard to answer that question directly. But with that said, I can tell you that in meeting with our Verizon Wireless rep, we can actually move our town's cellular devices over to the public safety plan, which is about 29 devices, and operate under this, and we would actually still save $150 a month underneath this public safety plan. So, it's something that we've been discussing and looking at and feel that we should move to. Number one, it saves us money. Number two, our public safety officials have priority when it comes to using cellular devices in the town. All right. Next thing, since our last meeting, I'm proud to announce that South Carolina Department of Transportation has awarded us an additional $384,000 in TAP grant funds towards the phase 2 portion of our sidewalk project, which is the new sidewalk to be installed from North Lee Street to Walmart. We had requested the additional funding to ensure that the town would not have to come back and put forth any money, and they awarded us those funds since our last town council meeting. So we thank DOT for that.
Ted, speaking on the grants, now, over on Broady Road near Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, they need a deeper receptacle for stormwater. Are there any grants that's coming up that would help that community?
I'm not familiar with
Can we look
anything
into-
specifically
yeah.
relating to the stormwater, but that's something I can let DOT know and have a conversation.
Yeah, because
with them.
they need a bigger basin there for that. Thank you.
Ted, we have looked into that situation in the past, which is in my district, and the county engineers were hesitant about allowing them to do anything with that current situation because it would allow, they wanted to pave their parking lot.
Right.
And
The impervious surface would create more stormwater runoff.
into the sewer system, which would cost the town more money to treat rainwater.
The rainwater not go into our sewer system now, does it? Because if that does, we're gonna have a problem.
I will tell you, if you find me a
Yeah,
town or a city that doesn't have.
If we could let Mr. Simpkins just finish his sentence, please.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I want to.
And when rainwater goes into the sewer system, then everything has to be treated as sewer, whereas rainwater, if it goes into a retention pond, where most of the businesses place their rainwater, when they build or pave a parking lot, then it just goes into that pond and soaks into the ground and doesn't get into the system, doesn't cost the town any more funds to clean rainwater along with the sewer. And that's why the county issued a cease and desist order when they attempted to pave that parking lot, because that hole was not adequate to cover that amount of water. As a comparison, when Olive Branch paved their parking lot, the first thing they did was build a retention pond, and they had no problems from the county.
And I'm gonna let Mr. King speak. We've kind of ventured off of the agenda here. We're talking about TAP grant for phase 2 funding of the sidewalk. So let's keep it brief, please.
I'll keep it brief. I've never seen a council person argue against money for his district, but that being said, the enlarged basin for stormwater will serve the same purpose as a retention pond. And that we have infiltration issues by doing that, then we really have some issues. If we are treating rainwater, and I know some of it, you have some of it, but we treating the major part of what we're treating down at that wastewater plant is stormwater runoff, and we got another issue. But if you could just look into it for that community, if we can get a bigger basin, if there's a grant to do that, I would like to see that happen.
And Mr. Luckadoo, anything else on the TAP grant? Phase 2 funding. Okay, moving on.
Oh, Mayor, can I ask a question?
Mr. Gambrell,
Is
real
that
quick.
both sides of the road you're talking about?
It's just the north side of 23. The CNC Automotive.
Oh, that
side,
is.
and the farm property over there, that side. Okay. Just a reminder to everyone, Thursday, October 31st, 6 to 8, we're having the Halloween on Main event. This year, we've been fortunate. We've had a bunch of churches contact us wanting to take part in the Halloween on Main event. In the past, one of the things that we faced was a lot of churches wanted to have their fall festivals the same night on October 31st, and a lot of churches have agreed to join up with the Halloween on Main event, so it's growing again this year. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask Mr. Lickett?
Yes, Mr. Gambrell has the floor.
I think it's wonderful that we're going to the town of Leesville to have an event, but if I recall, in the town of Batesburg, First Baptist Church was holding a block party at their church, and they're no longer holding it there. They're going to Main Street in Leesville. What are we doing for people in Batesburg?
As far as specifically on the night of Halloween?
Yes, sir.
No, I mean, we have our Halloween on Main event that evening, so.
Is this a decision by the church, or was this you
This was
telling
a
the church
decision
what
by
to
the
do?
church.
Thank you.
To join up.
But, so, the Christmas parade is not coming to Batesburg, right? And the Halloween party not coming down to Batesburg. I mean, I represent Batesburg, I don't know, that's what I'm talking about. When are we gonna have, when are we gonna have,
Really stop.
when are we gonna?
Really stop. Stop.
Ma'am, I'm not, ma'am,
Can I talk, please?
Mr. King, you have the floor.
Oh, thank you. But seriously, Ted, we have probably 90% of the town resources we use for special events go to Leesville. We all one community. You know, we gotta have, you gotta bring some stuff down to Batesburg, man. We asked you this several times to maybe one town. You know,
Okay.
so sometimes, you know, we got a park down here, down that way. We got a little main street down there, down that way too.
Thank you, Mr. Kane. Mr. Luckman, please continue your report.
I just wanted to remind everyone about the Halloween on Main event.
Thank you.
What's the time?
6 days. All right. Another reminder, spoke on this last meeting, just want to remind again that at Olive Branch Baptist Church on October 19th from 8 a.m. until 12 p.m., Lexington County EMS, along with multiple other partners, are holding their first community health fair, where they go out and will talk with citizens about any health issues that they have. They will be doing some very basic vitals and checks and things like that for members of the community. Again, that's from 8 to 12 on October 19th, which is this Saturday. So if you know someone who maybe could use being checked out medically with some very basic vitals and to have some conversations related to their health, please encourage them to go out to Olive Branch Baptist Church this Saturday. All right. A couple project updates that we have with regards, we spoke for a while now on the Brody pump station project. The environmental review process, which is generally pretty lengthy, has recently come to an end, and everything has passed the environmental review process. As a reminder, this is we did receive a $240,000 CDBG grant from Lexington County on this for the installation of new pumps, upgraded electrical, installation of new SCADA, and the replacement of the static bar screens. Once the funds have been released, now that this is done, the funds will be released by Lexington County, which means we can move forward with bidding the project and coming back to council and awarding this project and getting started. So there's nothing more fun than an environmental review process. It takes a while and it's lengthy. Part of our updated consent order that DHEC had given us was that we needed to install some new chemical metering pumps at the water treatment facility. Those pumps have been installed. We have notified and let DHEC know so that they can scratch that item off of that list. So we have notified them to let them know it's done. And they acknowledged today, as a matter of fact, that we had completed that project. So
I'm sorry.
Okay. The chemical, we have another grant project, $395,634 CDBG grant from Lexington County for new chemical feed system upgrades at our wastewater treatment plant. While this is not a consent order item, in the most recent sanitary survey that DHEC did of the wastewater treatment plant, they did ask that we move from gas-fed chlorine and sulfur dioxide to liquid feed chlorine and sulfur dioxide. So we were able to get a $395,000 grant from Lexington County towards this project. We have moved into the environmental review process at this point, which is going to probably take at least a couple months to get through that process. But while that's ongoing, we are handling all the design work that needs to be done, the permitting, and we'll have all of that ready to go so that once the environmental review process is done, we can get the funds released and bid that job. So, but that's likely not to occur for another couple of months. Real quick, going back to the council work session and the discussion that was had about town entrance signs and just moving forward with, you know, some steps towards this. We tried to look around for schematics or designs on paper that were done for the two town entrance signs along Highway 1 that currently exist. Been unsuccessful in finding those, but we did take pictures of the sign from every angle. I'd like to thank Jeremy Driggers, our fleet director, for going out. He measured every which way on that sign and put those dimensions on paper, and we sent the pictures with the dimensions to the land plan group, our master plan consultants, and they're actually going to put those plans on paper so that we have those, so that if council were to want to move forward at any point with the larger town entrance signs that are comparable to the ones we have, we actually have the signs on paper to be able to bid those. So thank you to them for going out and getting that. The consultants are underway with putting 2 or 3 other sign designs together for council's review once they're done. And just wanted to quickly update on the Comet bus service. Recent conversation with Mr. John Ando, Executive Director, about the pilot route 97. It is still planned. They've had to push the date back some due to another couple other projects that they currently have going on, which has caused them to fall a little bit behind on this pilot route, but it's still going to occur. It's still going to be for a year once it begins. As of right now, they're anticipating sometime in November, December, no later than January. And that was as of the last conversation that we had regarding that. And they're still trying to finalize each of the pickup locations in town, and they'll have to get out and install the signage at those locations.
Yeah, two things. One, on the signs, I would like to see the students get involved and the community get involved in designing some of these signs, entryway signs, to kind of get a community buy-in to what we're doing, if possible. Jeremy, thank you for that. And with the information that Jeremy gave, they have kind of a baseline to go on. But I'd love to see the students and maybe some other artistic people in our community get involved in that, at least for some of the signs. Maybe not the major entryways, but.
I would ask Mr. Bowman if he could kind of maybe put in his report that if people were interested in submitting an idea, maybe sooner the better, as our consultants are working right now. But I certainly agree that it's always good when people can share their thoughts and ideas from the community on that. And just because the consultants are putting 2 or 3 designs together doesn't mean that those won't be able to be changed.
They're probably making it more professional. They can take the idea and maybe synthesize it into something that, you know, is really practical. Right. Now, the other thing, Ted, the fence for the water department, is that Did you fix the power situation?
We're a little off the agenda, but.
No, that's not, he mentioned the consent order, and part of that consent order was to put the fifth.
Oh, boy, you stretch it on over there, Mr. King, but I'll give you this one, go for
Okay,
it.
You're talking about the automatic gate power.
Every time I want to say something.
No, it's gotta be on the agenda, sir, I'm following the rules, that's my job.
Okay, I'm just saying.
All right, thank you, I'm allowing it, so if you start arguing with me, you can talk.
Thank you. That was part of the consent order, right?
Power for the automatic gates.
Is it working?
It's working.
No, I'm saying, my issue was that it is outside of the power plant. So that if we have a power outage, right, the fence won't work.
It
Because
has a battery backup system.
It does have.
It does.
Did it always have a battery backup system? Or something that you
Well,
correct?
this is the first automated gate out there.
I'm just saying, but was it originally
Installed with it.
Or was it something that you had?
Since we bid it, it had an automatic.
Okay, all right.
Automatic battery backup.
All right.
And
I just didn't want the fence not to work and
It'll work.
we have a power.
And even if it didn't work,
Good
we
point.
could manually, it would still work manually.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm moving on, Mr. Luckett.
Last thing I got is, just want to piggyback off of the financial and budget update. I gave everybody a copy of the financials. Just wanted to hit on a few things since the last month that may stand out inside of the budget. We've been talking about awaiting reimbursement from Lexington County on the $30,000 for the sidewalk repairs that we made with C-Fund money. Well, the other day, just got curious as to why we had not gotten that yet, and we found the draft email sitting there in draft mode with everything attached. The send button just had not been sent. So we updated the letter and the date on the letter and sent it on to Lexington County, so that should be coming soon. It was previously underneath an email that moved on to bigger and better things, and at this point, but all's fair, they've received it, so we should have that reimbursement here down the road. We did receive the $32,045 for the firefighting gear underneath the Safer grant, the 12-step gear that we had received. You will not see that reflected as a revenue in the September end of the month, but it will be reflected. I just wanted to go ahead and let you know we have received it. We have received $148,500 reimbursement from the state for the 911 system. Again, that occurred just after the 1st of October. You won't see it in the September, but it will be reflected in the October financial.
How much was that take?
$148,500. It's not reflected in the September numbers that you see here. It'll be for October.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know we have received it at this point. In the fire department, equipment repair, you'll see that it's reflecting 86% with only $271 of the $2,000 originally budgeted. This goes back, as I put in the update, we had a vehicle versus power pole that occurred in the Batesburg district not too long ago. And when Dominion cut the energy back on, it sent a power surge and knocked out a commercial washer as well as the HVAC unit at Station 26. So we had to go ahead and get two things repaired.
Did you send them a bill?
We have submitted to the insurance company of the vehicle that hit the pole a claim to try and get both of those reimbursed to the town. So you will see in the equipment repair that it's pretty high, but that's because of the commercial dryer. And underneath building maintenance,
That's not covered under insurance, don't they?
well, we're trying to go after the vehicle that hit the pole's insurance for the reimbursement on that.
Okay, so why are you adjusting the budget?
I'm not adjusting the budget, I'm just highlighting line items that are really high percentage-wise.
So you already replaced it?
Yeah, we've already replaced the parts and made the fixes. We're going after the insurance for reimbursement.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Building maintenance, part of that increase is due to the HVAC repairs that had to be made. Another reason for that increase over this past month was a tree fell behind Station 26, landing what I would say is less than a foot off the side of our storage building in the back, and was resting on another tree, and we had to get a tree company out very quickly to fix that situation and to get that tree down to prevent it falling on the building. And that's another, unfortunately, there's not an insurance claim we can go after on that one. That's just an emergency procurement absorbed cost at that point.
You just said something that jarred something in my head. Okay, do we still own the cafeteria on that property at Midlands Technical College?
Mr. King, can you connect the dots back to what we're discussing in the budget? When we're discussing budget items in the manager's report, I think.
I'm sorry, man, my brain just kind of went
That's okay. If you can,
to another place.
maybe it'll be a sidebar after the meeting.
Okay, well, I wanted to ask, we still do own that cafeteria though, right? And it's right next to Midlands Technical College, right?
Sir,
Right?
we're going way back. I know where you're headed, and we're going way back. I want to finish. Let's finish out the meeting, sir.
I'm just trying
Thank
to
you.
figure it out.
Thank you. Continue on, Mr. Luckett, you have this floor.
If it's right there.
For both the utility fund and general fund underneath IT services, you'd see about a 21% increase over the past month. That is due to budgeted, our Microsoft Exchange licenses for all of our computers and emails.
That's a pretty big building too.
To have, that's an annual contract that we budget for, but it's going to appear that that's moved up a lot, but that will not be paid again this year. Revenue on the utility side, our water sales, taps and fees is about 3% higher than where we would anticipate it being through the first 3 months. Again, part of that is we're in peak season for water sales, so you're going to see an increase that should balance out as we move into non-peak. Our sewer revenue is at its mark of 25%, so we're right on track with that. We did receive a $6,458 retirement credit from reimbursement from PIBA this month, and that's based on appropriations that were made in the fiscal year 1920. You will see this reflected underneath the miscellaneous revenue. Again, non-departmental service, that goes back to the Microsoft Exchange licenses. You'll see that increase. If you're looking under utility administration, the Gilbert Summit water purchase is at 36%. 25 is the mark we should be at this point right now. The reason for that is, again, peak season. You have a lot of summer people that come and live out on our system too at the lake during the summer, utilize water, and then when it's not summer, they're not using water. So we generally are high at this time, but during the non-peak winter season, that should level out. And our utility maintenance crew underneath the water and sewer line materials, you'll see this is currently reflecting 59%. We did have 2 situations arise this past month in which our maintenance crews were bogged down on other jobs and could not get to a couple line breaks that came up. It was pretty significant, so we had to call in for someone to come and assist us, and that was about $10,100 in expenses.
What department?
That was the maintenance crew, utility maintenance crew.
You talking about the water line road?
We had multiple breaks over this past month, the most significant being the one out past the high school.
How much does it cost to hire another person?
Another person, all said and done, medical benefits, everything like that.
You don't pay the medical benefits. You pay a portion. How much does it?
Yeah, we're not 100%, but we pay the majority
How
portion.
much does it cost?
No, it's gonna be higher than that.
Higher than 30,000.
Yeah, all said and done, yeah, you're gonna be probably 40,
How much you
50.
pay them?
Well, it ranges, I mean, you got how long
I'm
they
talking
work
about
for town.
the baseline.
Well, it ranges, because you've got people that have been here 15 years and people that have just come through the door. So, that ranges. You've got different certification levels.
Shoot me that, because if you do what you said 3 times, that's $30,000.
No, I understand where you're going with it, and,
That's what I'm saying.
and I think that's something you have to evaluate on an annual basis, is if your guys are bogged down with other jobs and you can't get to things, what are you paying outside contractors to come in? So I understand where you're going with
Yeah,
that.
so let's look at that.
Okay.
Ted, would you explain the $2 on the senior assistance?
So senior assistants, the way that works is each month, we look at all the applications, what the total of those applications are, then we transfer the money into it. So that's not how much, we have the 14,400 or whatever we allocated in this budget. It's just we do a monthly transfer based on the amount of applicants that have applied. Because some people, they use it the first 4 months of the year, and some people choose to use it during peak season versus non-peak. So every month it's not the same amount. So we do a specific transfer for the most part each month for that.
Thank you, Mr. Luckady.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
About what percentage are we now after September of the total?
Can I send that to you? Can I send that to y'all tomorrow?
So there's no executive session tonight, so moving on to number 13, potential agenda items for next month's meeting, November the 11th, 2019. Are there any items?
Mr. Mayor, I wanted to point out that October, I don't know how we,
Are there any items for the agenda for November the 11th?
okay, let me just.
Mr. Kane, are there any items? No, Mr. Kane, I'm on the item 13 on our agenda that we all agreed to. This is potential agenda items for next month's meeting, November the 11th. What items would you like to have on there, sir?
Mayor, did you hear me say what I was gonna put on that agenda, or did you interrupt me before I could say what I wanted to put?
I thought you were going to your email, Mr. Kane.
That's-
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Kane, you have the floor.
You think?
Mr. Kane, Mr. Kane, you have the floor.
You just, every time I.
Mr. Kane, you have the floor.
Every time I try to say something, you want to interrupt what I'm saying, and you don't know what I'm about to say.
Mr. Mayor,
You know, that's disrespectful.
Mr. Gambrell?
I'd like to thank Mr. Luckady for adding this last sections to us, update for the monthly budget. It gives us an insight as to what is actually going on.
Is that something?
No, it's not. If we could, we're on item 12. No,
I'm just saying,
possible actions by council and follow up to executive session. Mr. Kane, you have the floor. What would you like to add?
No, what I'm saying is.
Mr. Kane, what would you like to add for
Mr.
12?
Gambrell was going on to something totally off the,
I didn't realize where he was going. I thought he had something on 12, and I've stopped him, and I'm going to let us go on with item 12 on the agenda, which is, would you like to have anything for the next meeting? Mr. Kane, you have the floor. Mr. Kane, you have the floor.
I don't need to go in. You do what you
Okay, anyone else have any items that they would like to add for item 12, 13?
You wanted to interrupt me.
And motion to adjourn by Mr. Simslider, do I have a second? Second by Mr. Gambrell. Any discussion? District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3? District 3? District 4? District 4. To adjourn? District 5? District 6?
Yes.
District 7? And I vote yes, we have adjourned.
Yeah.